You're listening to the Outstanding Life Podcast with your host, Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy. As a motivational speaker, Johnny D impacts audiences around the world with his message of living the outstanding life. He's a best-selling author, MC, and two-time Grammy-considered artist. This podcast is a place where Johnny D can introduce you to his outstanding friends and share funny, interesting, and heart-provoking stories. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. Here comes your host, Johnny D.
Hey everybody, I'm Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Outstanding Life Podcast. Before we get things kicked off today, I want to say a big hello to all my friends tuning in on Dirt Road Radio, KYDT 103.1 FM and KBFS 1450 AM. Ladies and gentlemen, I have today an incredible guest. You know, every week I have incredible guests on the show, but this one here I haven't seen literally in probably 45 years. That's right. He was my next door neighbor growing up. And I have on the phone with me today, Keith Gyulveszi. Keith, how are you?
Great, John. How are you doing?
Absolutely outstanding. And you're probably wondering, well, why is Johnny talking to his friend from growing up? Well, Keith is not just a pipe fitter. He is a professional fisherman. And I thought, how cool would it be to actually have a conversation about fishing in a totally different way, not just two guys fishing, you know, with their girlfriends in some kind of pond somewhere. So Keith, I welcome to the Outstanding Life Podcast. Thanks for taking time. And man, I can't wait to get into this. And I guess I'm going to start it off by saying or asking you, how did this whole fishing thing start, man? Like, when did you start fishing?
Oh, geez. Well, it started with my grandpa and my father, of course. Most fishing does start with your family first. And my grandfather was probably the biggest inspiration in fishing in my life. I did lose him when I was about 14 years old, just after we had left to come up here. Or I should say it was just before we left to move up north. So
for those of you that don't know, me and Keith are both in Michigan, and I'm the lower part of Michigan, and he is now living not in the upper peninsula, but we call it still up north.
Yeah, if you stick your finger right in between your middle finger and your ring finger, that's where I'm at.
Nice. There you go. Right in the middle of the mitten.
Yep. He passed away around that time. And I wasn't going to let it go because that kept me close to him. So that's how I got involved in fishing as much as I have through my grandfather and my father.
So you started out as a kid, but at what point did you start to say, you know what, I'm going to buy a nicer reel, nicer rod? And like, when did that start happening?
Oh God, that was right away. I mean, that was almost as soon as I started the addiction of fishing. So yeah, once you get into it, it's a never ending pit.
Right. So you started, young, because I want to say that we even took you up north, or not even up north, up in Howell, Michigan, to my aunt's place. And I remember as kids, your mom and dad would go and we'd all, carpool up there and we'd go fishing and hanging out, and the parents would be having a couple.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So, I remember going back at, thinking of questions to ask you and stuff. I was like, man, I think that we did some fishing together when we were kids. So Aunt Sophie's place.
God. Yeah.
Yeah.
God dang, that was a long time ago.
I know. So do you remember how old you were when you got your first boat?
Yes. When I actually purchased my own first boat, I was 19.
No kidding.
I was 19, just graduated, bought a brand new bass boat.
Wow. So then did you go to college, or did you take all of your college money and put it into a bass boat?
Yeah, I took all my college money. Actually, I was in college at the time. I was up here at Mid-Michigan Community College. I went for 2 years up there, but we'll just say had an unfortunate partying accident and broke my leg.
Wow.
And had to drop out of college.
Okay. Well, that's a good excuse.
Yeah. When you get screwed back together, it's always pretty good excuse.
So do you remember your first fishing tournament and how old you were?
My first fishing tournament would have been in '88. So just before I got my boat.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Right out of high school, I started fishing tournaments, and I could have started younger than that, but, it's hard to do when you're not over 18 because there's certain rules within organizations about how old you have to be to operate the boat by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Keith, I can't stop thinking about this. When we started talking a couple of weeks ago about doing this show, I can't stop thinking about the song, and I've played it over and over and over again. But Brad Paisley had a song out called I'm going to miss her. Have you ever had a situation where you literally, a girl broke up with you or you broke up with a girl because fishing was just more important to you?
Oh, Jesus. This is a good one.
So it has happened.
Yes.
That song is true.
Literally has happened. Johnny, let's just say, and for everybody out there that doesn't know me, I am on my fourth wife currently, and she's going to be with me for the rest of my life. We've been together for 20 years.
Right.
So I had to get all my divorces out of the way before my pension was vested in the union. So just so everybody knows. Well, skip back to wife number 3. We were going through a pretty nasty divorce, and I gave her everything she wanted. I gave her the house, the truck, the horses, the barn, everything. I didn't even walk away with a vehicle. And the only thing I cared about was walking out with my boat, because I had purchased a bass boat when we were married. So we end up going to court, and fortunately, the judge sided with me on the bass boat. So I did get to keep the bass boat, which was the only thing I kept out of the deal.
Did she even try to get it?
Oh, yeah. She tried to get everything. So she tried to, in front of the judge asked what I wanted. And I told him, I said, she could have everything. The only thing I care about is the boat. That's all I want. And she wanted to take it just out of spite, in my mind.
Right.
Well, the judge looked at her and he asked her, he says, well, what kind of boat is it? I'm not going to mention any names. And her lawyer started to speak. And the judge said, no, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to her. What kind of boat is it? Well, it's a fishing boat. What kind of fishing boat? She didn't know the brand. She didn't know anything about it. It's just a fishing boat. Mr. Gyulveszi, what kind of boat is it? Well, it's a 2000 Bass Cat. What motor's it got on it? 250 Merc EFI. It's got this trolling motor on it, this trailer, these electronics, blah, blah, blah. He says, do you tournament fish? I said, yes, I do. And he looked at her. He says, what do you need a boat like that for? And she says, just because I want it. And that was the wrong answer.
Right.
So in commemoration of that, that's about the time that the song came out. Was around 2000. It actually was like 2022 by the time we got divorced. So on the back of my boat, I had a big old sticker made up. I said, I'm going to miss her.
I always wondered about that, guys and, that are really into fishing, if that song really is true. And I guess you answered my question. It is very true.
Oh, it is very, very, very true. Even my wife knows now. She's like, she tells me, you need to go fishing. You need to go fishing. Yeah, I know. And thank you.
Keith, I remember probably, I don't know, I was probably 10, 12 years old, and I was, fishing with mom and dad and, my brothers and the whole deal. And I couldn't wait to ask you this question. I know that you're a professional fisherman, but you've also been fishing a long time and you weren't always professional. But there was one time that I was fishing next to somebody and they literally hooked right above my eye and they thought that they were caught in a tree and they kept yanking at, me basically because I got hooked. Have you ever gotten yourself or somebody else hooked?
Many, 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 numerous times. Well, my favorite story to tell about getting hooked was I was fishing a tournament on Spring Lake, which is down by Grand Rapids in Michigan here. And it was a team tournament. So I was fishing with my partner, Bob Hitchcock, at the time. I caught a dogfish first thing in the morning. I mean, it was like an hour into the tournament. So it's probably 7:30 in the morning in summertime. And he nets it. And it's a big dogfish. It's probably 7 pounds. And that's big for a dog. And he nets it. I take it out of the net and I grab it in one hand and it had a popper in its mouth, which for anybody that doesn't know, it's a topwater bait that's got 2 treble hooks on it. It bloops on the top of the water.
Okay.
Anyways, it's got 2 big treble hooks on it. And I grabbed it by the back of its head and with my left hand, so I'm right-handed, by the way. So I grabbed it with my left hand and when they shake, it's like trying to hold on to a Hulk Hogan. They're just a real strong fish, a lot of muscle. He slid out of my hand and buried one of those treble hooks while it's still hooked to the fish in my finger. And I had to jump on it like a grenade on the front deck of the boat while it's flopping around with the hook in my hand. So I'm yelling at my partner, "Hey, I need help. Get the pliers. I'm laying on the fish." Backstory about Bob. He don't like blood. He don't like the sight of blood at all. So I'm like, "You're going to have to get this hook out of my finger, out of the fish first." So he ends up cutting the line and cutting the hook out of the fish. Just cut it with some dikes. For those of you who don't know, dikes are wire cutters.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Clarification there. So he had to cut it out and out of the fish. And I still got this hook now hanging by a popper buried in between my knuckles. So the hook point was actually buried in between the knuckles on my pointer finger. I was like, "You're going to have to try to get this out because I can't pull hard enough." He went to pulling on my finger and the blood started coming out and I watched his knees buckle. Just buckle. So I said, "That's fine. I'll take care of it. You go back to fishing." So I ended up cutting the hook off. Long story short, fished the rest of the tournament with the hook still in my finger.
Wow.
Wrapped up in duct tape. Drove 2 hours back to the town I live in to go to the emergency room to have a doctor take it out. Yeah, yeah.
How did you do well in the tournament?
I don't remember anything about that tournament. Nothing.
So for everybody listening, here in Michigan, it's freshwater. So are you like a bass fisherman? Are you a walleye fisherman? Are you, do you fish for pike? Like what is your thing?
Strictly bass tournaments.
Okay.
I don't fish for walleye intentionally. If I catch one, it's going to come home with me and we're going to have dinner.
Nice.
But it's just by accident. Will fish for crappie and bluegill from time to time, just for fun, for food. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Just strictly bass fishing.
So I saw a picture, Keith, of your garage, and I mean it's a nice big garage. Has your boat in it. It has, I don't know how many rods and reels up on top, but I saw like literally 3 full walls of lures. Now I'm sure that is that's just part of what you have. Like, how does somebody accumulate that many lures, and why in the heck would somebody need that many lures hanging in their garage? Do you have a problem?
Yes, I do have a problem. The addict in me doesn't know why, because I'm sitting here in my garage now looking at this stuff.
Yeah.
And there is a ton of stuff here.
Like, do you buy some of that stuff, or do people send it to you, or is it a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of column A, column B.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff I've had sent to me. A lot of it, there's some of it that come from tournaments, because at tournaments they'll hand out crap there, and I don't like, if I get it for free, I don't like to throw it away. I don't know why. It's the pack rat in me, I guess.
Like, do you still buy, lures and stuff like that? And how much can a lure go for? I mean, because listen, I couldn't wait to do this podcast. One, I just can't. I'm going to get like sticker shock when I start asking you questions like how much a rod and reel costs these days. I mean, I'm sure you can't walk in somewhere and get a rod and reel for $19.
No, you can. You can get a rod and reel for $19, and that can do what you need it to do, but you probably won't have it the next year.
Right. Well, let me ask you this: how much can a lure go for?
Oh, well, nowadays there's these things called swim baits.
Okay.
And they're just a balsa wood made swim bait. And what it does, it looks like a shiner or a bluegill or a shad. And there's guys that custom make these things, and they're going for $1,000 or more.
What? For a lure that you might lose?
Yes.
Do you have one?
Yes. No, my problem isn't that bad.
Okay.
I know guys that do.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I do not have a swim. First off, I don't like throwing a swim bait. I don't like fishing one. It's just not my thing.
So $1,000 for a lure, and you said that I could probably run somewhere and get a rod and reel for $19. So there's no excuse not to go fishing.
Yeah,
but
there isn't none.
For somebody like you though, what can a rod and reel go for? Like, you just, if a lure can go for $1,000, I can't even imagine what a rod and reel would cost these days.
Yeah, you can spend thousands of dollars on a rod, and you can spend thousands of dollars on a reel.
Come on. You're telling me that I could spend up to $3,000-$4,000 on a rod and reel?
Oh yeah, you could.
What's the
easily?
Keith? I listen. I know technology changes and stuff like that, and I love technology. But what is the difference between something that is $20 that I could go catch the same fish you could, and you go and spend $4,000? What's the difference? Is it like a $300 bike and a $6,000 bike? Same kind of difference. It's like all the internals.
Yeah, it's mostly it's the quality of build, especially for reels, bait casting reels at that. There's a big difference in the amount of money you spend on a reel, on how they perform. And when you're fishing like I am, and you're making 2,000 casts a day, you need your stuff to be right and not to break down, and to be smooth and accurate, and the drag to work properly. All this stuff just helps you as an angler on the tournament aspect of just being precise.
Right.
Helps you not lose fish.
Speaking of being precise, I was watching TikTok the other day. I went down a rabbit hole on fishing. And I saw video after video after video of guys bass fishing and homeowners losing their minds because you were even close to their seawall or their boat or their dock. Or has that ever happened to you where you were out doing a tournament or even fishing for fun and a homeowner like literally was losing their mind thinking that they actually owned the lake?
Which time?
Are you serious? So that does happen. It's not like it's not a TikTok thing or a YouTube thing. Like people really will pull a gun out and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's lots of doc Karens, as we like to refer to them. So there are plenty of doc Karens. And my very first time that I remember ever having an incident on the water, I was probably about 22 or 23. And I was fishing a lake up here. It's called 8 Point Lake. And we're in a tournament. Me and my buddy were fishing it. Not the one I mentioned before, a different buddy, but we were just fishing. I was fishing along the shoreline. And the shoreline had a slope up to the houses, which was about 10 foot above the water. So I'm fishing down a row of docks, and I'm just fishing the docks because bass love to hide out under docks. Yep. That's why I'm fishing it. People always say there's no fish under here. Well, yeah, there is. There is. There's plenty of fish here. So I'm fishing these docks, and my buddy in the back of the boat, fishing out of the back, says, "Hey, what are those guys doing up there?" And I look up there, and he's got a golf club, and he's teeing up a ball right as I'm coming in front of his dock. And without saying a word, he lets one rip, and it just missed my buddy in the back of the boat. So my buddy, of course, has to say something to the guy, and I'm like, "What? What the hell are you doing?" And the guy don't even say anything. He just tees another one up.
Wow.
Yeah. And but I knew where he lived, so I had to inform him of that. I know where you live. You don't know where I'm from, so just remember that when you're doing something like that. That was my first one. One of my worst ones. There was two real bad ones. There was another incident where an old guy pulled a shotgun at me.
What?
Yep.
I mean, I've seen this stuff, but I always think like it's fake or, it's not real. And listening to you, I'm just like freaking out right now. Like this stuff is real. People lose their minds. Yeah,
he did. He lost his bananas, and I couldn't get away fast enough. I was once again fishing docks, and he evidently seen me coming, and he comes out full tilt out on the end of the dock with a shotgun, and he's yelling at me, "Stop fishing my dock," blah, blah, blah. And I'm, "All right, bud," I'm leaving. And he just wouldn't stop chirping as I'm trying to drive away, I end up calling cops on him because you don't need somebody like that right. Out on a loose. I didn't know what his issue was, but evidently it was somebody fishing his dock. And he went to jail that night.
Wow. What about other boats? Like do other like fishermen or even people that are not even fishing, do they ever lose their minds?
Yeah. Conflict always happens on the water when you're fishing a tournament with other boats. I shouldn't say always happens, but for the tournaments I fish around Michigan, I mean, our guys, we know each other. It's a pretty small, tight-knit group. Right. And of course, there's different quirks with personalities, conflicts out there. It's just like high school drama that'll go on sometimes about fishing a spot or something like that. But nothing.
So that's real too. Like everybody thinks like they have that's my spot. That's not your spot. I was here yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's funny. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, it is. It's just like, we're just overprotective of our spots.
Yeah.
Especially the older guys. And I say older, I'm 55.
Yeah, you're that guy now.
So I am that guy. But the funny part of that is I'm also aware I'm that guy.
Right.
So last year I was fishing a championship tournament we had on Saginaw River, which is I did in Michigan up by Saginaw. And I had one of the kids that was fishing. I say kids, he's 27. One of the kids that was fishing in the tournament against me. It's a singles tournament, so it was just one guy in the boat, not two. So I see him pull into this spot where I'm fishing, and I see him motoring over by me. And I'm like, what the hell is he doing? He just wants to talk and got an issue or something. So he shuts off his big motor. As he gets close to me, he says, do you care if I fish the bank up there by that tree way up there? And he was talking like 100 yards in front or 200 yards in front of me. And I knew I'd get him. I had to yell at him, get the hell out of here. That's fine. You ain't fishing that. So he turns around like a puppy. He goes to start up his boat, and go pull away. And I said, I'm just messing with you. Go fish it,
Yeah.
And he pulls in there, and he ended up catching the big bass of the whole tournament. Right in front of me. But it was good to see him win that. I mean, I like seeing the kids succeed. Right.
Well, because you were, one of those kids at that, at one point in your life. So what about these people out there and they're not fishing, but they're also not paying attention. Have you ever had a close call on the water?
Yeah, I've had plenty of close calls on the water. There's been
just people not paying attention or whatever.
Yeah, there has. St. Clair is the worst. Oh, Lake St. Clair is horrible because you'd think a lake that big, you wouldn't run into problems with other boaters,
right?
Just pleasure boaters out there, but that can be one of the worst spots. But yeah, I've had plenty of close calls out there. One time we were down in Kentucky. No, it was actually Tennessee. And it had a bunch of big pleasure boats on it. And me and my partner at that time were fishing it, and I was running down the lake full wide open in his boat. I was driving his boat. He's sitting in the passenger seat. And one of those big pleasure boats came through in front of me going the opposite direction. And for some reason, it didn't register in my head that he was throwing a wake that was probably 5 foot tall.
Wow.
And when you're doing 70 miles an hour down the lake, and all of a sudden you're on top of one of those waves and it hits you, it's bad. It launched my partner out of the passenger seat on the back deck of the boat, and he was hanging on to the motor.
Holy cow.
Before I could slow it down. Yeah,
wow.
That was a bad one.
Wow.
I also was fishing down on the Detroit River in a tournament, which was a draw tournament. A draw tournament is when you have a boater and a non-boater. So the guys will show up without boats and get to fish on the back of your boat as a non-boater.
Oh, okay.
So I drew a non-boater from Kentucky that particular tournament. Now this guy, I imagine he was probably around 75. And he'd never been to Lake St. Clair, and he always wanted to go. That's what he told me. I said, it's not a good day for that, but we're going to do it. We're going to run from Detroit River up to St. Clair, which anybody that's been on Detroit River or Lake St. Clair, when the wind blows out of the north, it's not a fun ride.
Right.
At all. So I made that long run up there in the morning. Morning was fine. Wind started howling in the afternoon. We had to be back to weigh-in at 2:30 or 3 o'clock, whatever time it was. And it was rough. And there was 3-footers out there, and 3-footers don't sound like a whole lot, but it's no fun in a little, 19 foot bass boat.
Right.
And I was young and dumb at the time, so I got an excuse. But this is for anybody
pass
that
on that
don't
one.
know. Yeah. This, when the wind blows, it blows those waves up 3 foot. And then you have marinas all along the shoreline of Lake St. Clair, which have seawalls on them. And the waves reverberate off those seawalls back into the lake. And if you're running close to shore, they can catch you. And those, when they reverberate, they build up. So they'll go from 3 to 6.
Yep.
just like that. Well, I'm running back, and I came up by one of those marinas. And mind you, I'm probably 100 yards off the marina as I'm running by it, doing maybe 50, 40, somewhere in there. And one of those waves just snapped out of nowhere. And I launched my boat off the top of that wave, and I hit it hard when I did. And when I hit it, the pins that hold the trolling motor down to the front deck broke. And as we're airborne, I watched my trolling motor go from the flat on deck position to start going in the down in the water position while I'm in the air. And when we landed, that trolling motor was in the fully down forward position, which going 30, 40 miles an hour, that's a lot of force. And it snapped the entire trolling motor off the front deck. With the trolling motor is attached the foot pedal. The foot pedal ran down the side rail of my boat and hit this old guy right in the chest. Thank God he was wearing a life jacket.
Right. I'm sure he wasn't happy with you.
Yeah. No. He wasn't. He had every right not to be, but neither one of us seen it coming. It was just like that.
That fast, yeah.
And yeah, it split the life jacket in half right at his breastbone. It was pretty cool.
Oh my gosh. Hey, we're talking to Keith Gyulveszi. Keith, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back after this message. And when we come back, Keith, I want to ask you, have you ever won anything super cool at one of these tournaments? Hey, everybody, I'm Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy. You're listening to the Outstanding Life podcast, and we'll be back after this quick message. Hey everybody, have you heard about the High Performance Expo? It's going to be the ultimate automotive experience. The expo will be held from June 3rd through the 5th in Charlotte, North Carolina, right in the hub of racing. This is where the best in the business gather to push the boundaries of automotive technology. Don't miss your chance to be a part of this exciting event. For more information and to get your tickets, visit thehpx.com. We'll see you at the expo. Hey, everybody, I'm Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy, and you're listening to the Outstanding Life podcast. I want to thank all my friends for tuning in today on Dirt Road Radio, KYDT 103.1 FM and KBFS 1450 AM. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me every single weekend. We're talking to Keith Gyulveszi. He is a professional fisherman, and right before we went to commercial break, I asked him if he's ever won anything super cool at one of these bass fishing tournaments. Keith, I have to ask, have you ever won things that are super cool? Like, listen, I've watched enough videos where sometimes they give away fishing rods, lures, that kind of stuff, trophies, money. But I've also seen at times that they've given out like literally boats. What's the coolest thing you've ever won at one of your tournaments?
See, now you got me thinking, Johnny, because coolest might not be the same to you and me right now, because I did win 2 boats.
What?
Won 2 boats in Gunnersville, Alabama.
At the same place?
1998. Yeah. It was Angler's Choice Championship. And that's a great story.
Well, please tell. How did... And you didn't just win 1, you won 2.
Yeah. We won 2 boats that tournament. And they were giving away 2 boats for first place. It was 2 boats for first place and 1 boat for second place.
For?
Oh, it was a team tournament, so my partner got one too.
Oh, I got you.
Funny story. He's still driving that boat to this day.
I love it.
That was 1998.
Wow.
Yeah.
26 years old and he's still using it. Well, it must be a good boat. Wow. So yes, 2 boats. And so, and you're right, Keith, you know, a lot of times somebody will ask that question and they think that the most expensive would be the coolest. So let me ask that question, or you answer the question the way I asked it. What's the coolest thing you've ever won?
The coolest thing I ever won, as I'm looking at it right now, is a fishing rod.
You looking at your wife?
No, God, no.
I'm just teasing.
She's still with the daughter running around. Oh my God, spending money. Yeah, I could be spending on lures.
So, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted. I was just having some fun with you. But what's the coolest thing you've won?
Yeah, it's a fishing rod.
Okay.
And I won it last year. This story is hard for me to tell. I fished a tournament trail called Shoe's Top Bass, and Shoe is Tom Shoemaker. He is the owner.
Okay.
Of that bass trail. It's my absolute favorite trail to fish. It's just a Michigan trail. Averages around 40 boats per tournament. Nothing huge, but it's a group of guys that fish it. Well, Tom, who owns it, his father, Tom Sr., fished the tournament trail too. And I've been fishing this tournament trail for 20 plus years. And Tom Sr. was there every morning setting up. They had banners. They got all this stuff that they have to set up in the morning or the night before. And he was always there taking care of it. And he was always there every morning checking live wells. So when you pull into a tournament like that, you generally have somebody that's designated to check the live wells to make sure nobody's cheating. Yep. You know, nobody's bringing fish. So he would be there every morning. We had a tournament, and you get to talk to the old guy, and he asks a little bit before the tournament starts. Everybody, it was just our normal thing. Well, we lost him 2 winters ago. So for Big Bass of the Year, they were giving out an award for the summer after we lost him that winter, which was, like I said, 2 summers ago. And I happened to win the Big Bass of the Year award, which is a nice trophy. But what I didn't know was they were also giving away a rod. And it's nothing expensive. It's just a Denali rod. It's a beautiful rod, but it's got his name on it.
Oh, wow.
So it's in my garage now.
Yeah. Do you ever use it?
No. No, I won't use it.
Yeah.
It's going to be on my wall, and that's where it's going to stay.
Nice. That's so cool, man. Wall. Like, you know, people don't realize, you know, we think of fishing and we think of, you know, just like you said in the beginning, you know, you think of, you know, a young boy or a young girl fishing with their grandparents or their mom or dad or their brother. And you know what I mean? But yep. when you have those relationships, just like anything else, it's like people don't realize the impact that they have on our lives, you know? Yeah. And I think it's kind of cool. Just like you said, it's a very, very tight knit group of men and women that do this. Going from the coolest thing like that rod, let me ask you this, just because I'm thinking about it, just kind of like laughing inside. But again, I go back to these TikTok videos and these YouTube videos of people trying to back their trailer with their boat up into the water, or even trying to get it out of the water. Do you have any funny stories to tell us about, you know, you just looking at somebody or watching somebody going, what the heck is this person trying to do? You should not even have a boat and trailer right now.
Well, that's every weekend.
So those are true then too, weekend. Huh?
Oh God, yes.
Do you have any funny stories, or maybe somebody pulling their boat with something that they shouldn't even be pulling their boat with because it's so tiny?
Nothing like that. I've had my own funny trailer stories.
Oh, really? You
stories? Oh God, yeah.
What happened to you?
If you own a boat, you're going to need to bust out another 1,000 because something's always going to happen. I mean, it doesn't matter.
I wasn't expecting you to have fun with yourself. Oh, please tell, Keith.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, the boat that I got for my last divorce, I was on my way to a tournament in the morning, probably 4:30 in the morning, driving up north. And when I say up north, it's farther north than I am right now. And I'm driving along, and all of a sudden, I'm on an expressway. I'm doing 75. And all of a sudden, a tire passes me. I'm like, what in the hell? Where the hell did that come from? It's dark out.
Right.
And it passes me and goes right in front of my truck and off over in the oncoming lanes. Thank God it was so early in the morning, nobody was over there, and launches up into the pucker brush. Is that my tire? Stop and pull over. Yeah, one of the tires gone off the back of the boat. Well, what do? Yeah, I'm on my way to the tournament. Screw it. I'm sending it. So I send her on 3 wheels right to the tournament. Get there. When I backed the trailer and the other tire that was next to the one that fell off, steam come rolling off of it. So I knew that bearing was shot too. I'm like, oh, great. I did that other tire's gone. This tire's shot. I don't have no rims. What am I going to do? So I made some calls during the day and had somebody, a wrecker service, come pick it up, put it on a flatbread to bring it to my house. So we fished the tournament and they showed up and put it on flatbed and took it back to the house, which you think would be the end of the story.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's not. So he's following me back to my house after my wife came and picked me up from the lake. And he's following because we got to drive 50 miles to go back to the house. I'm driving along and all of a sudden I look in the rearview mirror. He's not there. He was back there a minute ago. All of a sudden he's not there. I'm like, what the hell? So I pull off to the side of the road and there ain't nowhere for him to turn off. It's a highway. Right. What happened? It's not like I can back up, and I don't want to back up if he's coming my way. I don't know. He's trailering that thing on a flatbed. So picture a bass boat sitting on a trailer on a flatbed. It's way up in the air. Those flatbeds are pretty high.
Yeah.
The strap broke on the trailer winch on the boat while he was towing it. So he's got this thing strapped down. The trailer strapped down to his flatbed, but he doesn't have the boat strapped down to his flatbed. So when that strap broke on the boat, holding the boat to the trailer, the boat stood up.
Oh,
straight up God. And down, going down the highway. And the only thing that kept it from going off was the motor hitting back of that flatbed.
Oh, yeah. My God. Did he ruin it?
No, he didn't. He didn't ruin a thing. I wish he would have. I wish he would have.
Holy Toledo. That's crazy.
Yeah. He was pretty white when he finally pulled up to me there about half an hour later. I'm sitting on the side of the highway waiting for him.
I think of, the expense that you have to endure going to a tournament, especially when something wrong happens, right? Can you actually win money doing tournaments? Like, is there a payday at the end of the day, or are you just basically spending your money to go do something for fun?
For me, it depends.
I mean, what can you win? Can you win a couple grand? Can you win $5,000? Can you win 10 grand? Like, I don't know. And I'm sure that some of the listeners don't know.
Well, the Bassmaster Classic, which is like the Super Bowl of bass fishing.
Okay.
BASS puts that on. They pay out $300,000 for the winner.
Oh, wow.
So they got pretty decent paydays. Now there is a Bassmaster Tournament Elite Series going on Okeechobee, which is down in Florida, which starts tomorrow. And their top prize, I think, on the Bassmaster Elites is $150 now, $150,000.
Wow!
So there is good money in professional bass fishing, but it's a matter of spending the money to make the money, because our entry fees for those bigger tournaments like that range anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000.
Oh, wow. Keith, you've brought up a couple times, Lake Erie, Lake St. Clair, a lot of these big lakes here in Michigan. But it doesn't matter what lake you're on. Have you ever been in a situation where lightning or weather came up super fast and you were just, like, hey, you know what? I don't care. Fishing's good right now. I'm going to fish right through this. Do you have any funny, I shouldn't even say funny stories. Do you have any stories for myself and the listeners about you and weather coming up and you not stopping when you're supposed to?
Yeah, I've had some funny stories. Life is always a funny story when you fish. There's always something going to happen. There's going to be a story at the end of the day. It's just who's telling it. It's going to be somebody different. But yeah, plenty of stories with weather. I'm deathly scared of lightning. It scares me. Electricity scares me. That's why I'm a pipe fitter, not electrician. So, yeah. One of the scariest things I ever seen is one of the guys in one of the tournaments we're fishing on Houghton Lake. He actually got hit by lightning.
Oh, wow. The boat or it was like him?
No, he did.
Wow.
It hit his fish and hit the end of his pole and exploded his pole, and it didn't kill him. It just knocked him out.
Wow.
But which was a miracle all in itself. But we all knew that storm was coming at the start of the day. Everybody knew. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody said, hey, this is coming. It's going to be bad. The tournament director says, you fish at your own risk. If you want to stay out there, you can. But he says, I'm not justifying it,
Right.
Well, this storm rolled through. It was probably about noontime. And I seen it coming in. And I ran to a channel. And I tucked my boat up under a bridge. And we sat there and waited it out. And there was lightning hitting everywhere. And that's when he got poked by it. But yeah, it was just an absolute bird's nest. That rod, the graphite in that rod is, when they explode by electricity, it's one of the weirdest things. I'm sure you guys could find one on YouTube where somebody's been hit where they show the pole. It looks like hair. It looks like somebody cut off somebody's hair and attached it to the end of a rod.
Wow. Hi, so when you start the day off, it's all timed, right? Like, let's just say you leave, like, can you walk us through a typical day of fishing on a tournament? Like, do you start at 6 and have to be back by 4? Like how does that all work out?
Generally, it's from 6 or 7 o'clock till 2 or 3.
Okay.
It's an 8-hour tournament. Generally, guys run. Some guys will run a 9-hour tournament. Some guys sometimes will have 4-hour tournaments, like our weeknighters we have. Because I have a tournament every day of the week except Friday.
Okay.
There's one on my schedule for this coming year for every day except Friday. Not that I will fish them all, but there is an option for every day but Friday.
Wow. I'm just sitting here listening to you tell story after story, and I'm thinking about fishing with my Uncle Mike. That's my mom's brother. And we used to fish with just all kinds of crazy stuff. Like if lures weren't working, he would put corn on the hook. Have you ever fished with something that you're like, you know what? I don't even care right now. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try, I got hot dogs with me right now. I'm going to try a hot dog or whatever.
Yeah, every day's an experiment. I mean, it always is, because if you're not catching them, you're going to change. You're going to try something new. There's nothing really crazy. I have caught a fish on one of my daughter's toys before.
Oh my, that's crazy.
Yeah, she had this weird looking, it was like a fuzzy, it wasn't a fuzzy, but it was a rubber worm that she got out of one of these bubble gum machines when you go into the grocery store. And it was pink. It was just this ungodly color of pink. It was horrible looking. And she was playing with that thing. I'm like, I bet you that would catch fish. Because it had all these rubber legs coming off it, really tiny. So It was a touch toy. Yeah. I caught a fish off it. I had to. But that's about the weirdest thing.
What's the biggest bass you've ever caught, or I should say, the heaviest? Like what for a guy that doesn't know, like is the biggest, in inches? Is that the way you do things, or is it cooler to have the heaviest? And if so, what has been the biggest and heaviest bass you've ever caught?
It's cooler to have heaviest.
Okay.
It is. Well, it's about the girth.
Okay. And so how
the biggest bass I've ever caught was 6'8", and that is the biggest bass I ever caught. And that was in the bay, in Saginaw Bay, smallmouth. I've caught a largemouth, a 6-pound largemouth before. Actually, I got robbed on that one. I say 6 pounds. It was 5.99.
Oh, wow.
It probably that out in my live well. So I got robbed. That should have been my 6-pound largemouth. And you'll hear people talking. You'll see them on TV, on YouTube, whatever. Here's 8-10 pounder. That's all BS. Okay, you got to put them on the scale. Hey, in Michigan, if you catch a 6-pounder, you got a monster.
Okay. Keith Gyulveszi, I just can't thank you enough for taking us through your life of being a professional fisherman and some of the crazy and funny stories you've had. And I appreciate you taking this last hour with us. And do you have a YouTube channel, or can people follow you on social, or do you just kind of do your thing and you stay away from all that?
You know what? I stay away from that, and I plan on staying away from it because it's going to keep me mentally healthy.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, again, Keith Gyulveszi, thank you so much for taking time to come on the Outstanding Life podcast. And again, I'm Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy, telling all of you, be safe, have fun, and have yourself an outstanding day. We'll see you next time right here on the Outstanding Life podcast.
Hey, I'm Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy. Let me ask you, are you planning a conference, convention, meeting, assembly, or any live event that needs a guest speaker? Man, I would love to be a part of it. For more information, visit motivationalcowboy.com. And don't forget to check out my Outstanding Life podcast every Saturday morning at 6 a.m. right here on Dirt Road, KYDT 103.1 FM. I'm Johnny D, the Motivational Cowboy, telling you, be safe, have fun, and have yourself an outstanding day.
Thanks for listening to the Outstanding Life podcast. Follow Johnny D on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Motivational Cowboy. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the show, advertise, or would like to make a donation, please visit motivationalcowboy.com. And remember to have an outstanding day.